You know, when it's really different when you have a guy, right? When you're with him every day and you're witnessing it all. You know, I certainly remember, you know, he's been unbelievable in the playoffs with the Spurs as well. But you know, you're not as close to it. You know, heck, you might not even have seen all the games or whatever. You know, but again, you know, I can only state that he's been really good, and it seems like he's I don't know. It doesn't look like there's. You know, he gets stronger as the fourth wears on. He wants the ball and he wants to make the plays, and he seems to be making the right play for the most part. And you're almost shocked when he pulls up at 15 feet and it doesn't go in. You know, I mean, he vaults up there and he has a good release on it. You think, well, there's two more, and it doesn't go in. You're like, oh man, what happened? You know, but he's playing, and again, he's playing at both ends. He's rebounding. And again, it really gives the rest of the guys a lot of confidence when you got a guy playing like that.
Stephen A. Smith in the MKE tonight. The Raptors made some shots. They're now within 48 minutes of going to the NBA Finals. We heard Nick Nurse talk about his superstar Kawhi Leonard. I want to hear what you have to say about what you've watched from number 2 for Toronto over the last three games.
Well, what I've watched the Toronto Raptors do, mainly led by Coach Nick Nurse and obviously the star player that is Kawhi Leonard, is make all of us, including myself, look like absolute positive idiots. That's really what this comes down to. Kawhi Leonard is simply on another level, and everybody else is just spectating. That's what this comes down to in this particular series. We looked at Kawhi Leonard, 15 of his 35 points in the fourth quarter, 22 points in the second half. Fred VanVleet comes off the bench. He contributes 7 3-pointers. You got to remember, this is after Norman Powell and others came off the bench to do what they did. They outscored Milwaukee by 20 tonight on their bench. The last game, they outscored them by 25 via their bench. So you're getting bench production from Toronto, and you're getting a star, albeit injured, playing like a superstar. And that's what this comes down to. On the flip side, you're not getting that from the Greek Freak. We're seeing his limitations. He's limited with his post moves. He's limited when they crowd the lane. He doesn't have any mid-range game to speak of. And on top of it all, they have a starting point guard in Eric Bledsoe. He may have had 20 points tonight, 9 points in the second half. But when it really, really counted, they practically dared him to shoot because they knew he wasn't going to make a perimeter shot. And not only that, you didn't get any production from the bench. The key in all of this was when Nick Nurse decided to take Kawhi Leonard and put him on the Greek Freak. And once that happens, the entire offense of the Milwaukee Bucks appears to have been neutralized. It's 3-0 since Nick Nurse made that adjustment. And by the looks of it, it'll be 4 come Saturday night.
What do you hear from Milwaukee and their guys that you talk to him? I mean, I don't think it's a hopeless situation, but are there changes afoot for Milwaukee to try to flip this thing back over the next 2 games?
Well, they got to take it one game at a time. That's going to be their mentality. But the reality is they were saying that after the series was tied 2-2. And in the end, it appears there's not much they can do about it. Again, everything flows through the Greek Freak. You got to remember, the Greek Freak is absolutely sensational. He's a dominant presence when he's in the paint. But what Kawhi Leonard has been able to assist drastically in doing is neutralizing that momentum that he has coming at you once he steps past half court, getting to that 3-point line spot. If you stop that momentum in any way, it neutralizes him. And this is the playmaker. He's not just somebody that scores in the post. He creates shots for other guys. But the other guys can't get the open shots because Kawhi Leonard is all up in him. And not only that, you've got him getting some help. And then when you look for the secondary option or the Milwaukee Bucks, that is supposed to be Chris Middleton. He had 6 points tonight. Now, I understand you had some scoring from Brogdon and Brook Lopez and stuff, but Middleton is an all-star. I don't want to hear 6 points from an all-star. You need more from him. He didn't give that to you tonight. That is a problem. And I mentioned the bench. The bench gave you virtually nothing, and that's what you're talking about right now.
Chris Middleton, yes, 2 of 9. George Hill, okay off the bench, but that was the extent of it. Stephen A. Smith, thank you. Back up north, we'll hear from you on Saturday. Drake already starting to irritate all those Buck fans. He certainly has irritated Mike Budenholzer, coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. By the way, Budenholzer is German. I don't know if you knew that, a 60-win season. Right now, what they need is 2 more in the Eastern Conference Final. Coach Budenholzer, live on SportsCenter.
You know, we've been a resilient group all year. You know, we just need to think about going and winning 1 game, go to Toronto and get that tonight. You know, a little bit of a strange box score, obviously. VanVleet from the 3-point line and them in general from the 3-point line was huge impact on the game. They got to the free throw line more than us, and just we couldn't get we needed a couple of rebounds there down the stretch that, I think when we look at the film, we'll feel like if we could have, gotten a few more defensive rebounds from, the 5, 4, 3-minute mark on, maybe the end result would have been different. But, we'll get ready. We'll get prepared. Go to Toronto.
Coach Bud, Greg Matzik, WTMJ. You mentioned rebounding. You out-rebounded them on the night, but it seemed like some of their threes were long rebounds, a couple that glanced off the rim, especially late. From your view, were those hustle plays made by the Raptors or stuff you can't really do much about given the way the ball was coming off the rim?
Some of both, but I think when Kawhi Leonard shoots a three from the three-point line and goes in and gets his own miss, that is a critical play that can't happen. The one with the shot clock violation or where it glanced off the rim. Gasol and Brooke are battling, and if it just takes a little slightly different bounce, Chris is going to get that. And still a little uncertainty on exactly why they went to review and the order of things that occurred in that particular instance. But that's a tough bounce. Others we got to get to. We got to get find a way. All 5 guys got to participate.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Just continuing with those offensive rebounds, just how deflating can those plays be when you guys are trying to battle back?
Very.
Eric named The Athletic, but I'm curious with it. It's quite a scene to see blood running down Giannis's face on a TV screen. Just what do you think of his whistle tonight and kind of the way he's officiated?
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like he should be at the free throw line more. They have a couple of guys that are veterans. They're very crafty that seem to get there a lot. Lowry, when he drives, you got to be incredibly disciplined. He creates a lot of contact and